skipping that morning latte that you get at Starbucks or your favorite coffee shop, will that get you to financial freedom? Many people say it will, and many people say it won't. So let's take a look at this and see if this is actually good advice to get you to financial freedom. So if you're new here, welcome. We're happy to have you. Hopefully you are interested in hearing how to get to financial freedom as quickly as possible. Is that what I do for people all the time? I've been doing this for almost 14 years. Crazy how time flies. And this is the question that I get all the time. Does stuff like this matter? Now, when I started, a Starbucks or something was about $5, and now it's like $8. So it's obviously much more expensive. But also maybe our cost of our dollar has gone farther. I would say probably hasn't gotten that much farther, but maybe our dollar stretches farther, right? I don't know. Anyhow, but if we take a look at a Starbucks, let's just say it's $7, okay? And we say, does really saving $7 a day help me? And let's take a scenario, okay? And we're going to take two women. It's the same woman, but different scenarios, right? First woman goes in and she every day gets her same old, latte and bagel. And it's $10.99, let's say. And she walks in, she gets it. She doesn't buy anything different. She gets it 5 days a week. And that's what she does. Now, you can easily do the math. I'm not going to sit here and do the math for you. If you really want to know what that would equal to a year, I'll put that on the screen here. But essentially, that is what she does. And most people, when they go and get coffee, this is about treating themselves a little bit, having that nicety, starting their day off the way that they want, right? Having that sense of security or sense of freedom, or just, getting that caffeine in before you hit the door at the office or whatever that is, right? It's not really about the coffee. It's more about the feeling that you get having the coffee. Okay, so let's be clear about that, because people are like, oh, it's just about the coffee. You can skip the coffee. No, it's really about the feeling that you get from having the cup of coffee. Okay. And so, she spends a certain amount of money, and she's fine. She's still putting some money away. And does that really make that big of a difference? Okay, so let's say that this same lady walks in one day, barista's all ready to go with her order, and she stops and says, I don't really want it anymore. Doesn't really taste like anything to me anymore. I really am not enjoying it like the way I want it to, which a lot of people, I think that if you actually got them to think about it, it's now become a habit rather than that piece of enjoyment that they wanted. I would say probably 85 to 90% of people will say that. And so let's say she takes it, of course, because the order was already in, but she decides that she's not going to do Starbucks or any insert coffee company name right there anymore. That she is going to really treat herself when she wants one. And so it goes to maybe once a week. On Fridays, she gets something, and maybe it's once every couple of weeks. Maybe it's helped her get to work a little earlier so she can leave work a little bit earlier. Maybe it's helped her decide to put some money away for that trip she's always wanted to take that she hasn't had the funds to do so. Everything that we save doesn't have to go to retirement. I know everybody's shocked when I say that. You can enjoy life while you're living it right now and not in retirement. So let's say she puts that money away to go to a trip to Barbados or to Vienna or to wherever she wanted to go. That would get her there a lot faster. And she could use it to save for retirement more, right? She could use it to build up her emergency fund more. Maybe she needs that, whatever that is. But she's actually broken a habit. And the habit was not necessarily a good one, right? She's consuming probably a lot more calories than she needed to. And she is, not really even enjoying it anymore. It's a habit that has become a mindless habit. And so when we look at those different stories, right? Neither is bad. I'm not saying that if you go in to get your Starbucks and you go, still not enjoying it, but I'm still going to take it. It doesn't make you a bad person, right? Or a wasteful person or anything like that. But I do think that we need to take a look at these stories and say, when we have these little rituals, whether it's the coffee, whether it's the manicures, whether it's whatever that is it a habit rather than a actual nicety? Is it something that actually brings you joy, or is it something that has now just become a habit and is kind of wasteful in some respects? And so a lot of people will say in this industry, no, your 1099 is going to make zero difference in the long run. You got to focus on the big things. And to a degree, I agree with that, right? To a degree, is this really going to make the big difference? I don't know. I don't know if it will. I don't necessarily think so unless you invested in something and it goes skyrocketing, like you knew NVIDIA before it actually went up. I don't know, stuff like that, I guess, but at the same time, it probably won't be life changing. They're right. You should probably focus more on bigger expenses that are going to result in more money that you can put away than just a measly, couple $100 a year, right? But there are other things that go along with this. So we've already talked about habit, but let's talk about motivation as well. Motivation, we oftentimes will spend money or on things that we don't really think about anymore. Oh, it's $5. Oh, it's $10. It's, whatever. And we just kind of spend it. That does add up. If you string together, four of those $5 whatever purchases a day, that adds up. And so when we get into this habit of just saying, oh, it's not big enough, don't worry about it, those little things do build. And so to say that your Starbucks is not going to make a big difference, it's true. It probably won't. Then there are a lot of people in my industry that will show the Starbucks and you invest in, look at how much money it could grow. That's true, but you do have to get a certain rate of return. You have to know what investment, let's just talk about the actual amount, not necessarily the growth, right? But a lot of those little purchases added up do make a big difference. They make a huge amount of difference because that's the majority of money that we're spending on things. Rent and all that stuff is very expensive, don't get me wrong, but sometimes that's not something we can control, right? If you live in a certain area and you're going to have to pay $2,500 in rent, that's what you're going to have to pay. Like, there's just no way about it unless you get, affordable living or something like that. And even then, affordable living is still like over $1,000 a month, I believe. I don't know for sure, but it depends on the area too, but it's still not cheap. So these little habits build up. So how can we stop this kind of mindless spending that does add up to a lot? Well, one thing is to stop one habit. Maybe that's your Starbucks. Maybe that's your subscription for Netflix that you never watch anymore. Maybe that's your subscription to a beauty box that you don't care for anymore. When we let go of something that isn't bringing us joy anymore, it's small, okay? But it adds up. It's called baby stepping. And baby steps really can get you to financial freedom faster. It's been proven that if you just take small steps, you will eventually get there a lot faster than if you take these huge, gigantic leaps, but there's a lot more time in between because they take a lot longer. The baby steps make a big difference. And so we do have a piece, if you'd like to see it, called Baby Step Your Way to Financial Independence. It's on our website. I want to make sure I link it down in the description. And that is something that you can use. These are 15 little baby steps that you can use to actually get yourself on a better financial track than where you are now. Is it going to guarantee you financial independence or freedom? I don't know. It's up to you. But it can certainly help. It also gets you in a mindset a little bit. You take back control. I think We are in this world where we're mindlessly doing a lot of stuff. We're mindlessly scrolling on our phones. We're mindlessly churning the channels, mindlessly having conversations with coworkers that we've had a million times that doesn't really result in anything. It's a lot of mindless. We all have that conversation of like, I drove to work and I don't even remember if I closed the garage door or if how I even got here. We have those moments because we do have mindlessness. Now, we need to have some mindlessness. We can't remember every single time we brushed our teeth, how many times we circled on that one tooth. That's too much information, right? We cannot have that. The human brain's amazing and it pushes out a lot of that detail that we really shouldn't be holding on to. But what's happened is we've gone to the other side where we've gotten mindless about everything, mindless about relationships. I could do a whole thing about that. I've seen that a million times. I often say I kind of feel like a relationship expert because I see so many relationships when it comes to their money with clients and with prospects and stuff. And so essentially, we have this mindlessness that happens. And when you take one habit back and you say, no, I am taking control and I don't want to do that anymore, it brings a certain amount of empowerment back in our lives. We feel empowered by that. James Clear has a great book called Atomic Habits, and he talks about the little things you can do to take back some control, to take back and put these good habits in place and push away bad habits, to be honest. And they're amazing because you really get in that mindset of empowering yourself to be more mindful during the times that you need to be. We don't need to be remembering, every time we brush our teeth, but we do need to remember when we are purchasing things mindlessly. And we let things just keep going, like the subscriptions, the subscribe and save on Amazon, all that stuff, that adds up. Oh, I didn't realize. I have a friend that was telling me that he has, for some reason, he has this thing with paper towels, and he just has so many paper towels at home because of the subscribe and save at Amazon that his wife yelled at him and was like, would you stop this? Would you get on there and cancel this? And he kept forgetting and kept forgetting and kept not thinking about it. And not that paper towels is going to put him in the poorhouse, but it is being mindless. And that's not always a bad thing, but in this case it is, because his wife is about ready to kill him, which I understand. I would kill him too. So it's one of those things that the mindset gets reset when you start taking this stuff back. Also, I think finding a bigger motivation can help, whether it's that trip to Vienna, trip to Barbados, like we talked about. Maybe it's a trip, maybe it's a bigger thing than you. Sometimes retirement is really hard to focus on because it feels really far away or it feels unobtainable. But a weekend trip or being able to buy that little black dress that you've had your eye on that's $250, or being able to go to a nice restaurant and not having and paying for, a table, maybe your family, a table of friends, those kind of things, having some little and bigger motivations in your life can actually help you start to take off those habits that are spending us a lot of money, actually. And they're a lot more hopeful and thankful, and you have so much more gratitude at the end of the day than having some mindless subscription that you completely forgot about and you're like, oh, it's here again. Or, oh, I forgot I've been paying for such and such subscription for 10 years, and I haven't even watched it twice or whatever it is, and we have those stories. We have that stuff that we've been paying for double subscriptions for 3 years and you don't even realize it. And does it add up to a hugely significant amount? No, but if we do this a lot, it will. And so this mindset of, just get rid of your latte, that will get you to financial freedom, or don't worry about that because that's too small. You got to focus on the big things. I think that there is a middle lane with this. Getting rid of the small things can help build up to the big things. But is the small thing alone going to change your life? Not necessarily, but I do think it starts that snowball rolling so that you really can gain some momentum. So when we think of making changes in our lives, like a big financial change, saving goals, hitting retirement early, whatever that is, a lot of times it is about momentum, not about doing some huge thing. You don't have to save $300,000 a year to get there. But if you're saving, especially if you're saving like 10, 300 is a huge jump, but maybe we save 20. That's double. That's double the amount. That's amazing. Start small, build. And so getting rid of that latte might be that thing that you need to get you on the right track for financial freedom, or it might not help at all. Maybe it's getting rid of some other subscription or stopping to pay for sports for your kid who hates going to it. I don't know how many parents spend so much money on sports that they want to see their kids do and their kids hate it. Don't spend money on that. Spend money on things that your kids are going to love. All right, that's parenting advice I shouldn't give because I'm not a parent. But but I'm just saying that I see a lot of people spend money on things that bring them joy that doesn't necessarily bring their kids joy as well. I could do a whole video on that too. But at that, I'm going to stop it here. Hopefully, this made you think a little bit about some little habits you could change, whether it's that latte or something else. And thank you for watching to the end. I hope this helped, and we will see you on the next video. Bye-bye.